Anywho, alright.
Anywho.
So we start off with the story of a boy. He's walking to school, and as he walks along, he looks at some graffiti on a wall that he walks past pretty regularly. Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. They're forcing me into it. But he walks along and he finds some graffiti on a wall, and it looks pretty new. He walks past there every day on his way back and forth from school. And it says Purple Passion. He's going, that sounds a bit interesting. What is that, I wonder? Because generally they have a bit of a meaning. So he walks to school, and he asks his friends, hey guys, do you know what Purple Passion means? And his friends just look at him with this really odd look, and they beat the living hell out of him. It's really odd. So he's limping along, goes up to the teacher and says, teacher, they beat my friends, they beat me up. And they say, why? What's wrong? As they're taking him to sick bay. And he says, well, I was walking to school and I saw some words on a wall. I came to school and asked my friends what they meant, and they just beat me up. The words were Purple Passion. And the teacher just goes, she just doesn't know what to say. She sends him to the principal. He is there, and the principal is sitting there, and he says, now boy, what have you done? And he says, well, I was walking to school today, and I saw some words on a wall. I went to school to ask my friends what they meant. I told them the words, and they beat me up. I went to the teacher, asked her, she was taking me to sick bay, and I told her the words. She sent me to you. The words were Purple Passion. And the headmaster just turns a bright red. He looks steaming. He is not pleased. And he says, boy, you're expelled. Out. Out now. Go to your parents. So he walks home just completely, he doesn't know what's happened. He doesn't know what's wrong. Gets home, and his parents have been called. So his mum drives in the driveway and says, what have you done? And he says, well, I was working at school today and I saw some words on a wall. I walked to school and I asked my friends what they meant. They beat me up. I went to the teacher. She took me to the sick bay, and then she sent me to the principal. The principal, I told him the words, and he just sent me here. The words of Purple Passion. And his mother is she just kind of goes a bit pale and just doesn't know what to say. She says, stay in your room. Wait till your father gets home. I don't know what to do with you. He just sits there, not knowing what's happened. His dad comes home and says, boy, what have you done? What have you done this time? And he says, well, I was walking to school today and I saw some words on a wall. I told my friends the word and they beat me up. And then I went to the teacher. She was taking me to sick bay, and I told her the words. She sent me to the principal. Told him the words. He expelled me. I told Mum the words. She just didn't know what to say. The words were Purple Passion. I don't know. And as he's looking away, his father just silently goes red, just like his principal, except a much kind of, he's like purple. It's terrifying. It's his own son. He says, boy, I just can't deal with you anymore. I'm sorry. Out onto the street. This boy doesn't know what to do. He's been thrown out. He's been rejected. He should have Googled it, but he didn't. He didn't have access. He was thrown out too fast. His father was very strict on that. And so he's walking down the street, trying to figure out what he's going to do with his life. He doesn't know where to go now. He can't go to school. He can't go anywhere. So he's walking along, and a police officer drives up and says, boy, what? You know what starts with boy. What have you done? Why are you walking along the street? And he says, well, I was walking to school today and I saw some words on a wall. I told the words to my friends and they beat me up. I went to the teacher and she was taking me to sick bay, and I told her the words. She went and she sent me to the principal. I went to the principal, told him the words. Then I went home because he expelled me, and I told my mum and my dad the words, and they just threw me out of the house. And now here I am. The words of Purple Passion. And the police officer just gets out, grabs the cuffs and drags him into the car violently. Bangs his head on the car. Oh, it's not good. He ends up in front of a judge. And he's sitting at this bench. He quite honestly doesn't know what's happened because he doesn't know what's going on. The judge sits there, big wig on, just like you always see. And he says, this is a calling for this boy of an unknown charge. What have you done? And the boy says, well, I was walking to school today and I saw some words on a wall. I told my friends the words and they beat me up. I went to the teacher. I was walking to sick bay. I told her the words. And she sent me to the principal. The principal expelled me from the school. I went home from the school and I told my parents the word. They threw me out. I told the police officer the words. He handcuffed me and threw me in here. The words were Purple Passion. And he gets sentenced to 30 years jail. No question, no anything. because this is such a serious thing. He's in jail, and his cellmates go, "You're a bit young. What are you doing in here?" And he says, "Well, I was walking to school today and I saw some words on a wall. I told my friends the words and they beat me up. I went to the teachers. She was taking me to sick bay. I told her the words. She sent me to the principal. The principal, I told him the words and he expelled me from the school. I got home. I told my mum and dad the word. They threw me out. And then I went and I was walking along the street just wondering what to do. And the policeman drove up and I told him the words and he put me in the car and then I told the judge the words and then he sent me here and I'm 30 years in jail." And they go, "What could be that bad? What were the words?" He says the words were purple passion. And for the next 20 years...
30.
No, 20.
You said 30.
No, because the guys are in there for shorter times than him.
Oh. Wow. So it's 20.
Don't question my story. And he's in there, and he comes out, because of all the years of abuse, he's a big grizzled man. He's got a beard and everything. You know that's when a man's tough. He's got a big beard.
Feeling good,
and he's walking along the street because he's still in his orange uniform and doesn't really know what to do because it's been 30 years. He doesn't have any relatives to talk to or anything like that. He's walking along, and a woman kind of looks at him a bit odd. I mean, he's a big grizzled man, and he's got his police thing. He's got his prisoner uniform still on, and he's coming off from the prison. And she comes around the area enough. She knows what it's like, and she quite often finds them a bit interesting to talk to. And she goes, "What were you in there for?" And he says, well, $20, you know. And so he says, "I need lunch." Everyone needs lunch. So he goes, "Well, I was away to school one day and I saw some words on a wall. I went and told my classmates the words and they beat me up. I went to the teacher. She was taking me to first aid and, well, I told her the words. I went to the principal. The principal then expelled me and then I was just there with my parents. I told them the words and they just threw me out of the house. I haven't seen them since. It's worrying. I don't know." Walking along the street, the police officer asked me what the words were. I pulled into the car and then I was driven to the court. They put me there 30 years in jail and I don't even know what the words are to this day because no one will tell me. They just beat me up. Horrible. The words are purple passion. She's kind of leaning away, doesn't know if she's going to call the police, get out pepper spray, whatever it is. And she just looks at him and she's like, "Probably don't know what that is." And she says, "Okay, you know what? I've got an errand to run. I'll be about half an hour. And in half an hour, meet me at that hotel across the road." And so she wanders off very quickly. I don't know, maybe she wants to do something. I don't know what she's doing. But he sits down on the curb and he's just sitting there thinking about what he can do with his life, what's happened, and wondering, what is purple passion? He sees the woman across the street going into her apartment, or whatever it must be. And of course, his entire life, he's been leading up to this. He's just stood up and he's just so excited. He just can't take his eyes off the motel. It's the entire pinnacle of his life. Walking across a snowplow comes along and just beeps him up. That's why you should look both ways before crossing a road.
Excuse me? What is purple passion?
It's a drink. I made up the story.